Hey Raiders fans, we're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. That way, you'll always stay up to date with breaking news and exclusive content. The NFL world is currently in absolute shock after news broke that MAXX Crosby, one of the most dynamic defensive players for the Las Vegas Raiders, has been handed a 2-year suspension due to a doping violation. This revelation has sent tremors throughout the league, with fans and analysts alike scrambling to process what this means for both Crosby's career and the Raiders' immediate future. Crosby, who has been a cornerstone of the Raiders' defensive line for years, was known not only for his relentless pursuit of quarterbacks, but also for his leadership on and off the field. To think that a player of his caliber, who has consistently performed at an elite level and was rumored to be in contention for multiple awards, could face such a dramatic setback is causing an intense swirl of speculation and debate across social media platforms, sports news outlets, and inside locker rooms. The timing of this suspension could not be worse for the Raiders, who are entering a crucial phase of roster building and playoff contention. While the league has confirmed the suspension, details about the specific substance or circumstances surrounding the positive test remain murky, fueling rumors about whether this was accidental, a supplement mistake, or something more deliberate. Experts are already dissecting past games, scrutinizing performance patterns, and debating how this impacts Crosby's legacy. The situation is complex, emotional, and already dominating headlines as fans express outrage, disappointment, and confusion in nearly equal measure. Analysts are now speculating about whether the Raiders will appeal the suspension or accept it and move forward strategically, given the potential impact on their defensive schemes, player rotations, and overall team morale. There's a deep sense of disbelief among teammates, many of whom have publicly praised Crosby's work ethic, dedication, and professionalism since he entered the league. Sources close to the organization are reportedly stunned, claiming that no internal warning signs indicated any issues, and this suspension feels like a sudden, crushing blow to the team's morale. Fans who have closely followed Crosby's career are posting heated comments online, debating whether this tarnishes what had been a spotless reputation, or if the 2-year ban is excessive compared to similar cases in the NFL. Analysts are pointing out that the league has been stricter than ever with anti-doping protocols, and even the slightest violation can result in extended suspensions. Meanwhile, rumors are swirling about how this could affect upcoming free agency decisions, the Raiders' draft strategy, and even potential trades, as losing a defensive anchor like Crosby creates a vacuum that will be difficult to fill. Coaches are now facing the daunting task of reworking defensive schemes, considering replacements, and preparing for games without one of the team's most impactful players. There's also speculation that rival teams could leverage this situation psychologically, seeing an opportunity to capitalize on what was previously a dominant Raiders defense. Social media chatter ranges from disbelief to cynicism, with some fans questioning whether Crosby's performances in past seasons were entirely legitimate or influenced by performance-enhancing substances. Meanwhile, insiders hint at potential legal battles or hearings that could drag the issue into the off-season, prolonging uncertainty for both the player and the organization. In this whirlwind, everyone connected to the Raiders is grappling with the implications, trying to balance the shock, the rumor mill, and the strategic challenges ahead. Experts are already analyzing Crosby's stats in unprecedented detail, combing through sacks, pressures, and tackles to see if anything could hint at unnatural performance. While many still defend his accomplishments as legitimate, the suspension inevitably casts a shadow over his legacy. The NFL's stance seems clear: no player is above the rules, and the league is committed to maintaining integrity, sending a strong message to all players about the consequences of doping violations. This situation also reignites debates about testing protocols, player education, and accountability, as fans demand transparency and explanations. Meanwhile, Crosby's social media presence has been strangely silent, fueling further speculation about his mindset, future career plans, and the level of support he might be receiving from agents, family, and teammates. The Raiders' front office now faces an unprecedented challenge: managing a player crisis, maintaining locker room cohesion, and responding to media scrutiny while simultaneously preparing for the next critical games. Some rumors suggest that key figures in the team have privately expressed concern about long-term implications, questioning whether the franchise can sustain momentum without its star defensive linemen. Meanwhile, betting lines, fantasy football projections, and season predictions are all undergoing dramatic revisions as the news sinks in. Analysts are pointing out that this suspension could redefine the Raiders' strategy for years, forcing them to consider younger players or free agent acquisitions to fill a gap that will be impossible to ignore. The league, fans, and media are collectively holding their breath, wondering what the next official statement will reveal and how it might shift public perception of both Crosby and the Raiders as a whole. Sports commentators have started comparing this suspension to previous high-profile doping cases, weighing the severity of penalties, the fairness of league policies, and potential precedents. The comparison has ignited passionate debates across forums and talk shows, with some arguing that Crosby's punishment is harsh, while others insist it is consistent with the NFL's zero-tolerance approach. Meanwhile, whispers suggest that internal investigations may uncover additional layers of complexity, perhaps related to supplements, medications, or misunderstandings in compliance protocols. Legal experts are speculating on possible appeals, arbitration timelines, and the likelihood of any reduction in suspension if mitigating factors are presented. At the same time, fans are producing an endless stream of memes, videos, and social media commentary reflecting disbelief, frustration, and humor, all of which highlight the intensity of public reaction. Coaches are reportedly in meetings almost daily, brainstorming ways to adapt defensive rotations, redistribute responsibilities, and prepare backup players for more prominent roles. Analysts are weighing the domino effect on the Raiders' overall competitiveness, playoff chances, and locker room dynamics, suggesting that a 2-year absence of a star like Crosby could ripple through multiple seasons. Meanwhile, rival teams are quietly monitoring the situation, eyeing potential tactical advantages or negotiating opportunities during the free agency period. The rumor mill has escalated to the point where almost every aspect of Crosby's career, training regimen, and even personal choices is being scrutinized, dissected, and debated across multiple platforms. Fans have flooded online forums, debating whether Crosby's suspension represents a momentary lapse in judgment, a systemic failure in the league's education programs, or something more deliberate and concerning. Rumors continue to swirl about potential internal conflicts, public relations strategies, and the role of Crosby's management team in navigating the fallout. Meanwhile, fantasy football owners are scrambling to adjust rosters, as the absence of a defensive cornerstone can dramatically alter projections, point systems, and team strategies. Analysts are exploring how this disruption may shift rivalries, influence upcoming matchups, and even impact playoff seeding if the Raiders fail to maintain momentum without Crosby. In locker rooms across the league, players are reportedly discussing the news quietly, assessing the implications for their own reputations and career longevity. Media outlets continue to probe, speculate, and dissect every angle, creating a relentless cycle of rumors, analysis, and commentary. The situation has become a perfect storm of controversy, speculation, and high-stakes decision-making, leaving fans, analysts, and insiders alike in a state of tense anticipation over what will happen next, how Crosby will respond, and whether the Raiders can survive this sudden, seismic shakeup. The fallout from Maxx Crosby's 2-year suspension has now reached a level where every move the Raiders make is being dissected, analyzed, and speculated upon with relentless intensity. Reports from insiders suggest that the front office is in near-constant meetings, attempting to predict both short-term and long-term impacts on the team's defensive performance. Coaches are reportedly revisiting game tapes, strategizing replacements, and considering the possibility of moving key players into unfamiliar roles to compensate for Crosby's absence. Meanwhile, social media is overflowing with heated debates over loyalty, fairness, and integrity, with fans divided between defending Crosby's career achievements and questioning the ethics surrounding his suspension. Analysts have started theorizing about potential ripple effects in future drafts, highlighting how the team may need to prioritize defensive linemen in upcoming selections to fill the void left by one of their most impactful athletes. Rumors continue to circulate about the psychological impact on younger players, some of whom reportedly look up to Crosby as a role model and may now be grappling with uncertainty, confusion, and anxiety over what such a high-profile suspension signals about professional standards. Additionally, the broader NFL community is watching with keen interest, considering how this case might influence future anti-doping policies, enforcement intensity, and league reputation management. The situation has transformed from a single-player suspension into a multi-layered saga affecting team dynamics, fan perception, league credibility, and the unpredictable landscape of professional football strategy. League insiders indicate that the Raiders are evaluating all possible contingency options, including accelerated recruitment of free agents, adjustments in salary cap allocation, and the possibility of exploring trades to bolster defensive depth. Rumors suggest that scouts are revisiting previously overlooked defensive prospects, hoping to identify players who could step up immediately in high-pressure situations. Meanwhile, sports media personalities continue to speculate about the broader cultural implications of Crosby's suspension, with some framing it as a cautionary tale about the pressures athletes face in maintaining elite performance, while others emphasize the need for strict enforcement to preserve the integrity of the sport. Fans remain polarized, some expressing unwavering support for Crosby's achievements despite the violation, while others argue that a 2-year suspension is a necessary consequence to maintain fairness. The psychological atmosphere within the Raiders' locker room is reportedly tense, as team leaders attempt to maintain morale and focus, knowing that on-field performance could be jeopardized without their defensive anchor. Social media is amplifying the speculation, with countless threads debating the potential return of Crosby after suspension, possible appeals, and the likelihood of him reclaiming his prior form. Meanwhile, rival teams are quietly assessing strategic opportunities, pondering how the absence of Crosby could shift competitive balance, create exploitable weaknesses, and influence upcoming matchups. Every angle, from tactical adjustments to public relations strategies, is now under intense scrutiny, making this suspension not just a personal setback for Crosby, but a pivotal moment in the Raiders' organizational history and the NFL narrative as a whole. Analysts are already projecting the long-term consequences of Crosby's absence, with some suggesting that the Raiders' defensive identity could be fundamentally altered if adjustments fail to replicate his impact on quarterback pressure and sack production. Rumors indicate that coaching staff are engaging in scenario planning, exploring how defensive schemes might evolve over the next 2 seasons and whether new leaders could emerge to stabilize the unit. Meanwhile, media speculation about potential internal conflicts within the Raiders has intensified, with whispers suggesting that some veterans may feel tension over shifts in responsibilities, leadership dynamics, and expectations. As the saga develops, every decision, rumor, and reaction is magnified, contributing to a high-stakes narrative that blends uncertainty, drama, and speculation across multiple layers of the NFL ecosystem. Rumors about potential league-wide repercussions continue to emerge, suggesting that Crosby's case could influence future policy changes, testing protocols, and the severity of penalties imposed on players for doping violations. Analysts are debating whether the NFL will adopt stricter monitoring systems, more frequent testing, or enhanced education initiatives in response to such a high-profile suspension. Meanwhile, the Raiders are reportedly navigating an intricate balancing act, attempting to maintain competitive performance while managing media scrutiny, fan expectations, and locker room morale. Speculation about potential trades, free agent acquisitions, and draft day strategies is intensifying as the team seeks to fill the gap left by Crosby's absence and ensure sustainable defensive efficiency. Fans are engaging in heated online debates about ethics, legacy, and the fairness of the 2-year suspension, reflecting a mix of outrage, disbelief, and cautious optimism. Sports analysts are considering how rival teams might capitalize strategically, exploiting perceived vulnerabilities and recalibrating expectations for matchups against the Raiders. Meanwhile, whispers about Crosby's personal response, potential rehabilitation, and preparation for a future comeback have sparked widespread curiosity and conjecture. The story continues to evolve rapidly, combining official developments, insider information, and public speculation into a complex narrative that challenges conventional perspectives on accountability, performance, and resilience in professional football. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Raiders' internal planning reportedly extends to multiple contingency scenarios, with coaches exploring alternative formations, player rotations, and strategic adjustments to compensate for Crosby's prolonged absence. Rumors suggest that team management is considering both short-term tactical measures and long-term roster planning to ensure competitiveness across seasons. Meanwhile, analysts and media commentators are dissecting every possible angle, from the implications for defensive statistics to potential shifts in playoff projections and overall league dynamics. Fans continue to contribute to a constant stream of discussion, sharing opinions, theories, and emotional responses, highlighting the cultural impact of Crosby's suspension. Speculation about his career future remains intense, with questions about whether he will return to form, pursue advocacy, or redefine his professional narrative during the suspension period. Betting markets are adjusting in real time, reflecting updated projections and perceived risks for teams facing the Raiders. Social media trends indicate that the story is dominating conversation, blending rumors, facts, and commentary in a way that amplifies uncertainty and intrigue. The situation has become emblematic of broader debates around ethics, enforcement, and accountability in the NFL, demonstrating how a single player suspension can ripple through team strategy, fan engagement, league reputation, and media narratives. Analysts agree that every subsequent development will be scrutinized, with potential long-term implications for both Crosby and the Raiders organization. Insiders hint at ongoing behind-the-scenes negotiations, potential appeals, and legal strategies that may influence the timeline and scope of Crosby's suspension. Coaches are reportedly focusing on player development, rotations, and morale-building exercises to maintain team cohesion under challenging circumstances. Fans and media continue to speculate on every detail, from potential replacements to psychological effects on the team and future public perception. Analysts are exploring the precedent this case sets for the league, considering how similar incidents might be handled and how enforcement policies could evolve. Social media discourse remains volatile, reflecting the mixture of shock, disappointment, and curiosity surrounding the suspension. Betting and fantasy football markets are adjusting projections and strategies in response to Crosby's absence, highlighting the tangible impact on competitive expectations. Rumors persist regarding internal Raider communications, potential leadership restructuring, and a broader organizational response, indicating that this story will continue to evolve in unexpected ways. The narrative surrounding Crosby has shifted from individual achievement to complex organizational, ethical, and cultural dynamics, emphasizing how a single incident can generate cascading consequences across an entire professional sports ecosystem. As the NFL community continues to process these developments, speculation, analysis, and rumor-driven discussion remain at the forefront of public engagement, keeping the story alive and intensely relevant. Finally, discussions about Maxx Crosby's suspension are evolving into a long-term saga encompassing ethics, strategy, psychology, and league governance. The Raiders are reportedly balancing immediate tactical adjustments with planning for the next 2 seasons, considering how to compensate for the absence of a foundational player. Analysts and commentators continue to speculate about potential appeals, future performance, and the broader implications for anti-doping enforcement across the NFL. Fans remain deeply engaged, producing commentary, speculation, and debates that illustrate the multifaceted impact of the suspension on public perception, team morale, and competitive balance. Rumors persist about leadership shifts within the Raiders, roster modifications, and potential strategic innovations designed to mitigate the loss of Crosby's defensive presence. Meanwhile, media outlets are exploring narratives that connect ethics, accountability, and performance pressure, emphasizing the broader cultural significance of the situation. Fantasy and betting communities are actively recalibrating projections, highlighting how a single suspension can have widespread ripple effects on strategy, competition, and prediction. In short, the MAXX Crosby suspension story has evolved far beyond an individual case, becoming a defining narrative of uncertainty, speculation, and controversy that will reverberate across the Raiders, the NFL, and the broader football community for years to come, influencing discussions on policy, performance, and the complex intersection of talent and ethics in professional sports. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.